back to my studio, and I hope you're well. If you are enjoying my videos up till now, then please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. What I've got on my desk today, I'm going to be playing again. I had a lovely friend come around yesterday and she's re-inspired me to get my embellisher out, get all my different fibres and fabrics out, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a fabric scrappy collage, come free motion embroidery design. I want to keep to this sort of size because I think I might end up making a book of flowers. I don't know whether it's going to be a mix of countryside and garden, or I don't know, we'll see. I'm just going to keep to this size and then I can assemble something, or I might even sew them all together, make a wall hanging. I haven't yet decided. And what I've got here is I've got a cheap piece of felt to act as my stabiliser. It's a very thin quality one, but it does act quite a nice stabiliser. I've got a piece of hand-dyed cotton muslin, or in this case it's lawn. Then I've got another piece hand-dyed in green. They're very subtle. I wanted quite soft colours for the background, quite muted, because I decided I'm going to use these batiks again. So they're the batiks I used on the feather. They're all my little scraps. I've got my little scrap jar again, and they're inspiring me, these colours here particularly, to do echinaceas. Echinaceas, or I believe in America they're called coneflowers. So I can easily see coneflowers, especially in these bits of fabric. And I'm going to do like I did with the feather one. I'm just going to randomly cut pieces and just assemble it as a scrap fabric collage and see how I get on. So I'm just going to cut random petal shapes. What I've got to be careful of with the batiks is if it's got a distinctive leaf shape, I've got to try and avoid it really, because otherwise it might spoil the look that I want. So I'm just going to cut out a load of petal shapes. I'm not being precise or anything really. I'm just cutting things out. What you could do, if you don't feel confident just cutting out shapes like this, you could find a line drawing illustration of the flower you like, if it is echinacea that is, or any flower, and then use it as a paper template. So I'm doing a bit too fast, I think. I think what I might have to do is play around with the thickness of these petals and bit by bit join them up. I don't know how big I want these flowers to be. We'll see. So with these scraps here, I'm just going to carry on building this up, and then I'll show you how I got on. My camera just ran out of power and I'm not entirely sure how far I got, but what I have been doing is placing these little bits where I think I'd like them to go. And I've got quite a collection of different pieces that I've cut. Just sort of grabbing one and dropping it straight down. Try not to think too much about it. That's just quite nice having those two together. Or is it? Is that too much? I think so. So the only part of processing or thinking is if there's too many similar colours together. I quite like the layering of the different colours. And interest. Oh, hang on, I missed the cone up. What I have found, depending on how I've cut it, actually influences the way in which the petal has to sit. one more petal. Do I need it anywhere? I'm now just wondering whether to put another echinacea, because there's quite a gap here, but then that would give me an even number of 6. Do I ever follow rules? No, no, I don't ever follow rules. So I'm going to cut a few more petals, I think. Shall I, or shall I just move this one over? Oh, decisions. No, I'm just not going to follow rules. I'm going to cut myself another cone head. Oops. Okay, so I'm looking at something like that. I've got some green batiks here that I might use for sort of some foliage. I've also got to consider perhaps some stalks. Don't want to make the stalks too formal though. Might use that as part of the stitching. And we'll see how we go on, shall we? So I've got this far. I'm going to get my, as I haven't used any Bonder web, I'm going to use a Pritt stick or just a stick glue. You can buy proper fabric glues. I've just got a really ropey, cheap glue that isn't too goopy. I'm going to just slightly dismantle what I want to do, because I want to make sure I've got some nice layers going on. So I'm going to get this one down next. Not putting tons of glue on them because I don't want my machine, well, the machine won't gum up on this, but I've found with this particular cheap glue. This is one that school suppliers offer the schools. So it's not a high-end brand. I might bring that one in a little bit more. I think what's nice about this is you can see it's not permanently stuck, but there is some glue clinging going on, mostly to my thumb. If you can see that. Sorry, I was doing that slightly off camera, I apologise. Let's do this one next. Again, I'm going to slightly dismantle it to put it back. Try not to think too much about it, I'm just sticking it down. And that one in the middle looks to me too straight. I might put it off on a bit of a wonk. That one's got a wild look about it. Not sure about that one. I have to bring it underneath a bit more. Better. I think the main drawback with this method is the fact that you end up with sticky fingers, and then when you lift things up they stick to you and come away with you. As I say, if you're going to do this yourself with some kind of glue, I would recommend, as you say, you use the proper stuff, because I don't want to be blamed for you gumping up your machine. I know what my machine can take. But what I have found, as I say, with this type of glue, if I... oh, hang on, that's lifted up. I should have stuck that down. There we go. If I iron this now, the glue will pretty much set and is no longer tacky. But I'll leave that up to you to make your own choices. Right, so I've lowered my dog teeth, I've put the free motion embroidery foot on. I'm going to lower my foot, my tension foot. It doesn't look like it's lowered, but it actually is, and that's when you can get caught out. I'm going to lower this needle thread now. I'm going to hold it as I do it, and I'm doing that using the balance wheel. I've turned and I've cleared, and that's in order to get the bobbin thread up. Now the bobbin thread I've chosen to use is a very neutral grey, and I'm just going to make sure it's lowered, and I'm going to pop that down. I'm going to use a nice moderate speed. Well, I hope it's moderate, we'll find out. And I'm just going to go round. Right. I'm going to go around that once, I'm going to go around this next one. And then I'm going to go around the next one. Now, I could choose to go around them all again, and invariably I actually do tend to do that on bigger pieces. I tend to go around 3 times, and that's more to make sure it's evenly put down and that it won't lift, etc. But I'm discovering that because it's such small pieces, I think if I go around with more stitching, I'm just going to spoil it. So I'm going to go around each of them now, each of the petals. This is the lighter one of the two. I decided to go for the lighter one, and I think it does bring it out a bit. So I've got to there, and all I'm going to do to lift up to go to the next flower, so I'm going to lift up the foot, and it will release the tension. So both thread, the bottom of the thread and at the top, should loosen off. If they don't loosen off, you've not lifted your foot. But then you have to remember to pop it back down. You don't need to do the bobbin restart because the bobbin has travelled with you. Just doing a couple of extra stitches where I finish off, and then I'm going to drag to the next one. If it does what I've just done now, you can, if you wiggle the balance wheel a little bit, it will release the tension. I'll make sure my foot's back down, and all these bits here I can trim off at the end. that's all the flowers petals done. I'm going to change to a dark brown because if you look at echinaceas, they're that orange background, that they're very dark tips. So I'm going to do some little seed stitches in the darker colour, and then I'm also going to do this in green. I've started now on the leaves. I've put on a Sagutimum Silky. I'm just putting some stalks in now and then coming back to any leaves that I've missed. I'm going up and down a couple of times to get a bit of a stem going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few little whispery bits in between, just to suggest other plants are growing in there, or grass, weeds in my garden. It's a stalk, it's quite distinctive. I've got a stalk coming up here somewhere. I'll put some other plants in. there's a leaf here. I'll turn around so I can see what I'm doing. Going to jump that petal because I've got a stalk coming up here. And some leaves. Just need one more stalk, I think, just in here. And then some just more some just general shrub, just texture. So that is the green. Just now need to add the brown for the cone heads. I've changed the thread now for, it's actually a metallic brown. I don't think it will show up on the video. And what I'm doing is I'm doing like a little round circles. I've gone around the outside and I'm just filling in the centre. I'm making it more intense at the bottom to give it a little bit of shading. I don't know how that shows up on camera. It is a little bit glittery, as if the dews landed on it. So just lots of little circles to get that little knobbly texture. A bit darker at the bottom, a bit more at the bottom. I'll repeat that on every head. Always remembering to lower the foot. think I'm finished, but it's always best to take it out and look at it for a few days and add to it. So I'm going to trim it up and then I'm going to give you some close-up pictures. Right, so that is the finished piece. I'll come in a little bit closer so you can see the detail. If I zoom out, I was trying to think to myself, oh, how can I just show you it to make it look much nicer, because at the moment it looks a bit raggedy, but I found this frame and you can see that if I was to trim it up and put it in a frame, that is how it would look. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as I said at the beginning, please give me a thumbs up or even say hello and leave a comment. Take care for now, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.